You know that specific kind of dread you get when you see an email pop up from HR,
Oh, yeah.
and it just has the subject line performance review.
Right. Or even worse, that sinking sensation in your gut when you get a physical letter from the tax authorities. The
Exactly.
one saying you have been selected for an audit.
Yes. It is just an instant spike of cortisol.
Yeah.
Even if you know you've done everything right.
Yeah, you have all your receipts in order.
Right. But there is still this primal fear of, what if I missed something?
What if I interpreted a rule completely differently than they do?
Exactly. It's the fear of the microscope, I guess. The
Yeah.
fear of someone going through your life with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah, it's unsettling.
So I want you to hold on to that feeling, the listener, I mean. Hold on to that feeling, but I want you to scale it up infinitely.
Okay.
Imagine an audit where every single transaction, every word you ever spoke, every dollar you earned, and even the fleeting thoughts that crossed your mind are subject to review. And the auditor. Well, the auditor already knows everything before you even hand over the file.
That is a terrifying premise. It sounds like a dystopian sci-fi novel.
It really does.
Yeah.
But it is actually the core premise of the deep dive we are taking today.
Right.
We are looking at a source material titled Islamic Tarbiyati Course 2026-Episode 03. It's by the speaker Muhammad Ajmal Raza Qadri.
And normally a title like that might suggest a strictly ritualistic or theological lecture.
Yeah, exactly. But what stood out to me and why we are really breaking it down today is that it reads like a comprehensive manual for the ultimate audit.
Which is a really compelling way to frame it. Because when we usually talk about akhira,
The Islamic concept of the afterlife.
right, the afterlife, it is often discussed in these very abstract spiritual terms, or sometimes purely fearful terms.
Right.
But this source treats it as a very practical, almost administrative reality.
Yeah, it's very structured.
The speaker's core argument is that the afterlife isn't just a destination you go to when you die. It is a psychological framework that should dictate every micro decision you make right now.
And that's the exact angle I want to explore. How does believing in a final audit change how you do business? Or how you treat your spouse?
Or even how you scroll through social media.
Exactly. So today, we are going to unpack this concept. We will talk about the easy reckoning, which sounds like the option we all want to check on the form.
Definitely.
We will break down the 5 specific questions on the final exam. And honestly, we need to talk about some mind-blowing case studies about integrity that the speaker mentions.
They make modern business ethics look like child's play.
They really do.
And stick around because there is apparently a social cheat code to passing this audit.
A cheat code.
Yeah, it's a specific set of behaviors regarding other people that the source claims will actually make the auditor go easy on you.
Well, a cheat code is always welcome in a high-stakes game, but let's start with the basics.
Mm.
The speaker, Muhammad Ajmal Raza Qadri, lays down a pretty heavy foundation right at the start. He says the entire structure of the faith rests on this singular belief.
That there is a day where God or Allah will ask about everything.
Everything.
The exact phrase used in the source is amakanu yamalun.
Meaning concerning what they used to do.
Right. And the speaker emphasizes a really interesting point about justice here. He says if there is no judgment day, then justice itself is kind of a farce.
How so?
Well, think about it. If a tyrant lives in luxury, oppresses people, and then dies peacefully in his sleep.
Well, his victim lives in poverty and pain and dies forgotten.
Exactly. If that is just the end, then the universe is fundamentally unjust.
Right. It would mean the bad guys essentially won.
Yes. So the speaker argues that the concept of the afterlife is the great equalizer. It's the balancing of the books. It ensures that no debt goes unpaid, whether it's moral or financial.
But here's the nuance that really caught my attention. The speaker mentions a prayer that the Prophet Muhammad used to make.
Yes.
He would regularly pray for a hizab-e-ahsan.
An easy reckoning.
Right. And it's interesting because his wife Aisha actually challenges him on this.
She does. She asks, what does an easy reckoning actually mean?
Which is such a valid question.
Mm-hmm.
If you are being audited, you are being audited. How can a forensic audit possibly be easy?
It's a fascinating distinction the source makes here. The answer provided is that an easy reckoning is when God simply looks at your deeds, sees the file, and basically says, okay, I forgive you.
He just overlooks the details.
Exactly. He sees the general direction of your life was good, and he just waves you through.
So to use our tax analogy, it's like the auditor glancing at your massive pile of receipts, seeing you are generally a good citizen and saying, you know what, I trust you, get out of here, have a nice day.
Precisely, because the alternative, and the source is very clear on this, is the difficult reckoning.
The detailed audit.
Right. The speaker warns that if God starts interrogating, If he starts demanding a detailed explanation for every single action.
Like, why did you do this specific thing on a Tuesday 10 years ago? Why did you spend that $1 there?
Yes. If that happens, the individual is doomed.
That makes total sense. I mean, if anyone dug deep enough into anyone's life with a magnifying glass, they would find flaws.
Absolutely.
No one survives a forensic audit of their entire life without some major penalties.
Right. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is mercy. You want to avoid the questioning phase entirely.
You just want the rubber stamp.
The source essentially says if you get to the point where you have to argue your case, you have already lost.
Okay, so how do we view the world if we're trying to avoid this interrogative audit?
The speaker uses this incredibly vivid and slightly gross analogy to reset our perspective on worldly value.
Right, this involves a dead goat.
The dead goat. It is imagery that really sticks with you.
Yeah, it does.
He retells a story where the prophet walks by a dead goat rotting on a trash heap. It is bloated, its ears are cut off, it's just garbage.
And he asks his companions, what is this worth to its owner?
And obviously the answer is nothing. It's literal trash. If it had any value, it wouldn't be rotting on a heap.
Right.
And the punchline the speaker delivers is that to God, the material world is worth less than a mosquito's wing.
A mosquito's wing. That is incredibly specific and incredibly small.
The logic here is really sharp, though. If the world, meaning wealth, status, luxury, had any intrinsic value to God, he wouldn't let a disbeliever or a tyrant even have a sip of water.
Because you wouldn't give something valuable to someone you despise.
Exactly. The fact that bad people have wealth proves that wealth itself isn't the currency that matters to God. It's just a temporary resource. It's play money.
But let's unpack that for a second, because I think it's very easy to misinterpret that as saying money is evil or you should strive to be poor.
Right.
And the source actually nuances this quite a bit, doesn't it?
It does, and that is a crucial distinction to make. It is not that wealth is inherently bad. It is the attachment to it that is dangerous.
The source draws a clear contrast.
Yes, there is the person who gets lost in the wealth. They earn for fame or power, and they completely forget the audit. That is the trap.
But then the speaker describes the ideal scenario.
The ideal is someone who has wealth, a broad home influence, but also has a heart that feels the pain of the oppressed. And they possess religious understanding.
So basically, you can have the nice house, you can have the luxury car, as long as you aren't letting it own you.
And as long as you are using it correctly, the audit is strict on the utility of the resources you are given.
That brings up the sensory audit, which I found fascinating.
Oh, yes. You will be asked, did I not give you eyes? Did I not give you ears?
It's a literal check on utility. You were given these high-tech tools. Your body, your senses, what did you use them for?
Did you use your eyes to learn and appreciate, or to envy and lust? Did you use your ears to listen to truth or to gossip and slander?
There is actually a really specific list of exemptions regarding wealth, too. It's kind of like the standard deduction on your taxes.
Yes.
The source says there are 3 things you aren't held accountable for.
Right. Number 1 is a house to hide your head, basically basic shelter.
Number 2.
Cloth to cover your body, basic dignity.
And number 3.
Food to straighten your back, sustenance.
That is it. Just basic needs.
Everything beyond that, the vacation home, the designer wardrobe, the expensive dinners, that is all line item auditable.
It doesn't mean you can't have them, though.
No, not at all. It just means you better have a good answer for why you needed them and how you use them. It shifts the burden of proof entirely onto you.
Okay, so we know the scope of the audit. It covers everything beyond basic survival.
Right.
Now let's talk about the exam questions. Because the source references a specific hadith stating that on Judgment Day, no one moves. Literally, you are frozen in place until you answer 5 questions.
These 5 questions are really the core framework of the episode. They cover the entirety of human existence.
Let's run through them. First one, where was your life spent?
This is the general overview. What was the main pursuit of your existence?
Like if someone looked at your calendar for 70 years, what was the dominant theme?
Exactly. Was it your career? Was it service to others? Was it just distraction?
Okay, second question. Where was your youth specifically spent?
This one is interesting because it highlights energy. Why single out youth when you're already asked about life in general?
Right.
Because youth is when you have the capacity to do the most good or the most damage. God wants to know how you used your peak performance years.
Did you burn that energy on vice and partying, or did you invest it in something lasting while you had the physical strength?
Exactly.
Then the third and fourth questions are about money. and they are split up. Where was your wealth earned? And where was your wealth spent?
Source and allocation. This is the financial audit part. Did you earn it ethically?
Did you cheat anyone? Did you exploit anyone to get that paycheck?
And then once you had it, did you hoard it? Did you waste it on frivolous things or use it for good? Notice how it cuts both ways.
You can't earn dirty money and give it to charity to clean it.
Right, and you can't earn clean money and spend it on vice. Both sides of the ledger have to be clean.
And then there's the fifth question. And honestly, this is the one that hit me the absolute hardest.
It's a tough one.
How much did you act upon what you knew?
The knowledge-action gap. This is the ultimate hypocrite filter.
The speaker goes pretty hard on this point, too. He mentions that scholars, the ulema, will actually be audited first, before the wealthy or the warriors.
That is a sobering thought for anyone in a position of influence. The speaker warns about the danger of being an influencer or a speaker.
Someone who posts advice on Facebook or WhatsApp, forwarding beautiful quotes, but not living them in private.
He quotes that poetry line, "I could not become a man of character, I remained only a man of speech."
I think in our modern information age, where literally everyone has a platform that cuts deep, we all know what's right mostly.
Yeah, we know we should call our parents.
We know we shouldn't gossip. We know we should be charitable. The audit isn't asking, did you know? It's asking, did you do it?
Exactly. It turns knowledge into a liability if you don't act on it. Ignorance might be an excuse, but once you know, you are on the hook.
And this spills over into social responsibility, too.
It really does. The source emphasizes that this audit isn't just about ritual prayer. It explicitly mentions how you treat your wife, how you distribute inheritance among your siblings, and how you parent.
You are the shepherd of your household. If you failed in your duty of care, that is on the exam.
Speaking of duty and integrity, the source shares these incredible stories, case studies, really, of people who pass the audit with flying colors.
And they are wild.
Okay.
The first one is the buried treasure story.
Oh, this one is a classic from Bukhari Muslim. It completely flips modern logic on its head.
So a man buys a piece of land, he starts digging, and he finds a pot of gold. Now, let's be real. Today, if you buy land and find gold, you are throwing a party.
Oh, absolutely. You are posting it online. You are hiring a lawyer to make sure you keep every cent of it.
You are claiming finders keepers. You would argue you bought the property rights, so the mineral rights are yours.
Exactly. But in this story, the buyer goes back to the seller and says, "Take your gold back. I bought the land. I didn't buy the gold."
And the seller's reaction is even more surprising. He refuses to take it.
He says, "I sold you the land and everything in it. It is not mine anymore."
They end up going to court. And not to fight for the gold, but to fight to get rid of it.
Think about the mindset shift there. Why were they doing that? It wasn't just because they were being nice.
They were terrified of the accountability attached to that wealth.
Exactly. They viewed unearned assets as a massive liability on their audit. They didn't want to answer for gold they didn't work for.
Eventually, a wise man suggests they marry their children to each other and give them the gold. So problem solved.
But the contrast the speaker draws is brutal. He talks about how today, if land value goes up even a little bit after a sale, the seller tries to back out or demands more money.
It highlights such a profound shift in mindset. We think about net worth. They thought about audit risk. They prioritized a clean ledger over a heavy wallet.
Then there's the story of the two wives. This one felt like a movie script, but it really highlights integrity when no one is watching.
This is such a powerful story. An Egyptian merchant has a secret second wife in Syria.
Right. He travels there for business, marries her, but keeps it entirely quiet back home in Egypt.
Which, let's be honest, usually ends in absolute disaster.
Usually, yes, but he dies while in Syria. The first wife in Egypt, who knew absolutely nothing, eventually finds out or suspects something.
So she gathers the inheritance. Now, legally and socially, she could have just kept everything.
There were no witnesses to the second marriage available in Egypt.
And the second wife had actually been divorced right before he died and given a small settlement, so she technically had no legal claim anyway.
Right. The second wife says he divorced me because he knew he was dying and didn't want to burden me or something to that effect.
But the first wife travels all the way to Syria.
And she insists on giving the second wife her rightful share of the inheritance. She says, "I know the truth and God knows the truth."
That is the definition of integrity. Doing the right thing when you could so easily get away with the wrong thing.
And look at the cost. She literally gave away money she did not have to give. She reduced her own wealth.
But again, she wasn't worried about the Egyptian court system. She was worried about the divine court.
She chose justice over personal gain.
There is one more short one about Abu Dhar, a famous companion of the Prophet. He tells his servant to donate his best camel.
But the servant donates the second best one. Still a great camel, but not the absolute best.
And Abu Dar corrects him. He says, I wanted to send the best one ahead.
He viewed charity as a wire transfer to his future self in the afterlife.
If you are sending money to yourself in a foreign country where you plan to retire, you send the best currency. You don't send the crumpled, torn bills.
I love that analogy. Investing in your future self.
Now, this all sounds very high stakes and difficult. We've talked about the sensory audit, the knowledge gap, and asset allocation.
But the speaker promises a cheat code for that easy reckoning we talked about at the beginning.
Yes. And surprisingly, the cheat code isn't about praying all night or fasting every single day. It is entirely social.
It's about how you treat other people.
The source lists 3 specific actions. If you do these, God goes easy on your audit.
Number 1, give to those who deprive you.
Oof, that is hard. That goes against every instinct we have. If someone cuts me off, I want to cut them off.
Number 2, connect with those who cut ties with you.
Even harder, family members who haven't spoken to you in years, you have to be the one to pick up the phone.
And number 3, forgive those who oppress or wrong you.
So basically do the exact opposite of what your ego wants to do.
Exactly. The logic here is reciprocal. The speaker argues that how you treat God's creation determines how God treats you.
If you are lenient, forgiving, and generous with people, even when they don't deserve it,
God will be lenient, forgiving, and generous with you during the audit.
he talks about having a clean heart, free from bujas, meaning malice, and hasad, meaning jealousy.
He says if you have a heart that doesn't hold grudges, God will essentially say, go, I have forgiven you.
There is a beautiful intuition the speaker shares here. He says, my intuition tells me that those with clean hearts toward people will be forgiven by God.
It's about being audit-proof by having nothing in your heart that requires cleansing. If you don't hold debts against others, God won't hold debts against you.
And this extends to how we judge others, too. There is a final story about a thief that I think sums up the social responsibility aspect perfectly.
This one really flips the script on crime and punishment.
The fruit thief. A man is caught stealing fruit and brought to the prophet. The owner of the orchard is probably expecting the prophet to punish the thief severely.
Cut off his hand or at least imprison him.
Instead, the prophet turns to the owner and asks, why didn't you feed him when he was hungry? Why didn't you teach him when he was ignorant?
That is a profound shift in blame. The theft was a symptom. The disease was a society that let a man go hungry and ignorant.
The prophet ordered the thief to be given food and a whole load of grain.
It changes the whole concept of accountability. It isn't just, did I steal? It is, did I create the conditions that made someone else feel they had to steal?
Precisely. We're often so quick to judge the poor or the desperate. Why are they begging? Why don't they just work?
But the audit asks us, what did you do with your surplus to prevent their desperation? It moves the responsibility from the individual to the community.
It seems like the ultimate audit is really about interconnectedness.
Mm-hmm.
You can't pass the exam alone. You need to treat people well to get the easy reckoning.
I think that is the key takeaway. If you isolate yourself and just focus on your own rituals, you might miss the biggest part of the test.
The audit checks your vertical relationship with God, but it seems to weight your horizontal relationship with people very heavily.
Yes.
So bringing this all back to our listeners, we started with the fear of a performance review.
Right.
But what this deep dive suggests is that the ultimate audit isn't meant to paralyze us with fear. It's meant to liberate us from the rat race.
I think that is the most powerful way to look at it. If you are constantly worried about the worldly audit, what people think of your car, your job title, your bank balance, you are anxious. You are trapped.
But if you shift your focus to the divine audit, suddenly those worldly things matter a whole lot less.
You become freer. You can give away the gold. You can forgive the person who snubbed you because you're playing a longer game.
It's about legacy and integrity. The speaker mentions that we prepare for tonight's dinner, we budget for the month, but we rarely prepare for the long term, the eternal term.
We are hyper-aware of life, but we need to be hyper-aware of the purpose of life.
So here is the final thought for you to chew on today. The speaker listed those 5 mandatory questions: life, youth wealth, earned, wealth spent, and action on knowledge.
If that audit happened right now, literally if the deep dive stopped and the question started, specifically that last one, how much did you act upon what you knew?
Would you pass your own audit? It's an uncomfortable question, but maybe the most important one we can ask.
Definitely something to think about.
Thanks for diving in with us. We will see you next time.